Meta just declared war on Google and Bing. Welcome back to AI with Absaar. Hold on to your seats because today's deep dive into Meta's new moves could be their riskiest gamble yet. Is this the beginning of a data revolution or just Meta trying to rule the digital world? Meta has decided it's done being a mere client of Google and Bing. They're going all in to build their own search engine. But this move isn't just about having its own tool. It's about reshaping the entire flow of information across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Just think, the next time you search for something within these apps, the answers you get could be coming straight from Meta. No Google, no Bing, just Meta's own hand-picked data. So, the question is Meta tired of Google's shadow, or is it chasing something way bigger? Here's where it gets interesting. Meta plans to link this new search engine directly to its Meta AI chatbot, which is already woven into Instagram and WhatsApp. Imagine a setup where you get real-time answers directly from Meta, not just about your messages or posts, but about the latest stock prices, sports updates, even breaking news. Let's think for a second. If Meta controls the flow of information across these platforms, does that put them in a position to shape our entire perspective on the world? For 8 months, Meta's web crawlers have been gathering data from across the internet, creating a foundation for this new search engine. They even inked a big partnership with Reuters, giving Meta a top-tier news source to feed us real-time, accurate updates. But does this mean Meta's becoming the new Google? Or is it the start of a future where we're all fed the information Meta wants us to see? What do you think? Are we walking into a Meta-filtered world? Let's break it down even further. Right now, Meta relies on Google's Gemini and Microsoft's Bing AI for search. But both companies are, at the end of the day, Meta's competitors. Google's Gemini pushes conversational results while Microsoft's Bing integrates with ChatGPT's browsing for live updates. Meta relying on them for answers? Yeah, it's complicated. And it's not just about being competitive. Meta wants to shape the story itself and not depend on anyone else to do it. That means, at least in Meta's vision, they'll be in full control, for better or for worse. But at what cost? So, is this Meta's way of giving us better search results, or just controlling the narrative? And let's be honest, Meta isn't the only one jumping into this AI search game. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is rolling out its own search tool too. And companies like Perplexity are also launching similar tools. But there's a massive hurdle here: lawsuits. Companies like News Corp and the New York Times are already suing, arguing that these tools are pulling from their data without paying for it. And let's face it, Meta's past relationship with the news world hasn't been smooth. They even removed the news tab entirely for a while because of the backlash. Will Meta be able to dodge a legal minefield? Meta thinks it's found a workaround by teaming up with Reuters. But how long will that last before more news giants step in? Meta's trying to go from relying on Google and Bing to creating a web-crawling giant of its own. The question is, can they pull it off without tripping over the same issues that Google and Bing face daily? This move could make Meta's search engine one of the most powerful in the world, with real-time AI responses embedded into every corner of its apps. Imagine having Instagram and Threads feeding you real-time insights, tailored not just to your search, but to the data Meta's AI owns, tracks, and gathers. Is that efficient or a little bit creepy? Now, speaking of creepy, let's talk about data security. While Meta's busy gathering information, your own data is constantly exposed to online threats. Cybercriminals, phishing scams, and data breaches are always evolving. So, if you want to keep your info safe while enjoying Meta's digital playground, protect yourself with NordVPN. Stay with me for the exclusive AI with Absaar deal at the end. But let's not forget the open source battle brewing in the AI world. The Open Source Initiative, OSI, just dropped a bombshell, redefining what OpenAI means. And they're pointing fingers at companies claiming OpenAI models that don't actually meet open source standards. Meta's Llama AI model is a prime example. Meta calls it open source, but under OSI's new definition, not quite. Here's why. OSI argues that to be truly open source, an AI model should make its training data, codebase, and even the settings and weights. Those are what make AI models perform the way they do, fully accessible. Meta's Llama doesn't reveal all that. Instead, Meta claims it's a safety issue, but critics argue it's about keeping a competitive edge. If that sounds familiar, it should. This is giving major flashbacks to the 1990s when Microsoft fought against open source software, calling it a threat to its business model. Now Meta's using a similar argument, saying real open source can't be applied to such complex models. But is that just a cover-up? So, is Meta a new Microsoft, blocking true open source AI to keep us in their ecosystem? This debate is heating up fast, and big players are stepping into the ring. The Linux Foundation just joined the conversation, working on its own standards for open source AI. Is this a turning point where tech giants will be forced to finally open up, or are we just seeing more open washing? Companies labeling things as open source for the PR points? Meta argues that full transparency isn't safe, that releasing training data could lead to misuse. But is that caution, or just Meta making sure they stay ahead of competitors? OSI's move could spark major changes, even influencing companies like Google and Microsoft to rethink their own transparency. And if these companies are forced to show their hand, how much would they actually reveal? Do you think Meta's right to keep its AI mostly open? Or is it hiding too much? And let's not forget, Meta's reasons for not disclosing all training data might not just be about safety. Some say it's to avoid legal risks, especially since many of these models use copyrighted material as training data, which, surprise, brings us back to those lawsuits. Companies like the New York Times are already pushing back, accusing Meta and others of using copyrighted content. Will Meta's legal strategy hold up, or will we see a wave of new copyright cases? As these issues come to a head, it's clear that Meta's not just building a search tool, they're building the foundation for a digital empire. But where does that leave the rest of us? Are we ready for a world where Meta controls our data flow, or are we being taken for a ride? So what do you think? Is Meta's search engine a game-changing innovation or a massive power grab? Let's hear it in the comments. And if this breakdown made you think, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next big scoop on AI with Absaar. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.